Okay, we are inside the mine for this one, and at least to start, and we're going to cover three things in this tutorial. And the first thing is we're going to create some custom items. We're going to put a special ring into the inventory of Jason, who's Falstad's son, who's been killed in the mine or whatever. And the player character can find that ring and then move to the second stage of the quest. The second thing is we're going to create a custom item with the item wizard, and we're going to place that in a merchant store so that the player can buy it. And the third thing is we'll set up that merchant store and attach it to the character Varen, so that when you talk to Varen you can actually use the store. So we'll set up those three things in this tutorial. Okay, so get into the Furnesk mine and let's move up to this area back here. And I'm going to place a starting spot right here so that we can avoid, it's good for testing purposes to move these things around so you can quickly get to the area you want to test. And as I zoom in here, okay, we have this, whoops, this thing always moves around. We have this plague victim corpse that's always causing problems here. It's, you know, drop down beneath this altar, but I do have it selected. You can also select it over here on your list even if you can't see it, and hopefully that'll fix itself. But I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to choose properties. And so this is the properties of our specific Jason body that's sitting here. And you'll notice there's some things on here we can modify, and there's an inventory, but it's not clickable yet. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to click plot, and we're going to click usable, and we're going to click has inventory. And so these three things may mean this will sort of in a way act like a chest or a box or a barrel, and you can open it up, you can take things off of it or put things into it. And so what we're going to do is click on the inventory button, and there's nothing in the inventory right now. See, it says contents, and here is all your standard items and custom items if you've built any, and you can drag anything you want into the inventory. And if you want to take something out, you can drag it down from the inventory contents down to the trash can here. So we are going to go to standard items, miscellaneous, jewelry, rings, and we're going to grab a copper ring and drag that over. Okay, there it is. That's a default copper ring. Now we can right click on this and go to the item properties. And so the only thing we're really going to change, and okay, so you see this bag here, that's its 3D image. It's okay to leave that. All that means is if you were to drop this item on the ground, it would look like this. And the reason they do that is because if a ring was dropped on the ground in this game, it would be small enough that you just really couldn't see it very well. So anything that's kind of a small item, they just make a kind of a bag. And so you pick up the bag and you get whatever's in it. Okay, so we're going to go over here to tag, and we're going to put IT for item tag underscore Jason, ring Jason. And note the spelling, even the capitalization. This is very important because we're going to use this later to identify this ring, and you have to spell it the same everywhere. So IT ring Jason. So we're just going to change the tag on this one, and it's just going to be a copper ring, but when you pick it up, it's going to trigger your quest to move on to stage 2 and tell you to take that ring back to Falstad. We are not going to implement that part of it in this tutorial. The scripting for that is a little tricky, and we'll do that in not the next one, but the one after. Okay, click OK, and click OK, and click OK. So we will leave that there. Okay, now if I were to test this, I'm going to go to my tools build and test module. Click yes. I'll have to do a quick little fight with that fluffy character, and then I should be able to get that ring from Jason's body. So I turn around here. We'll take care of the fluffy here. That's enough of fluffy. Okay, and it looks like, yeah, that the object is still underneath the altar. So I'll need to go back and refresh the view. But I can click on it, and if I do that, I can see there's a ring. I can click on this ring. And there's nothing special about this ring other than the fact that it has a different tag than usual. And so if I had the script in place, the game would recognize that I had acquired this, and it would move my journal. But we haven't built that yet, so that's going to work fine. Let's hit escape and exit. Okay, I'm going to find that thing again and refresh the environment. Maybe I'll just try to move it. You know, it might be worth it to not have the altar if this happens a bunch. You know, how much time do you want to spend moving things around if it means you constantly have to do this? There. Man, that's just kind of a pain. I'm going to delete my altar and just leave them on the ground because it's just wasting time. If yours worked, great. If not, delete the altar. It's not crucial that it be on the altar, okay? Okay, so let's save this and let's move out to Fern because that's where we're going to take care of a couple things. And here I have Varen. And I'm going to take Varen, I'm going to move him so he's not just in the same exact location. I'm going to move him over here and rotate him. And I'm going to put in kind of a shop or something to work with here. So I'm just going to grab a barn and we'll put that right there. And that way it looks like Varen is kind of a whatever. He can sell you something because he's got this building next to him. So he's not, you know, it's kind of weird that we were standing next to this guy talking about this guy and he's only 1 foot away. So the player character will talk to this guy, then he'll come over here and talk to Varen. All right, so that's it. We spent too much time on that. Okay, here we go. Next, we are going to create a custom item, and we're going to use the item wizard. We're going to go to the wizards menu, go to item wizard. And obviously there's a long list of types of items here. We're going to start with the first one, which is an amulet. Click next. And we're going to give this a name, and we're going to call it, I don't know, I'm just going to make something up here. Let's call it the gold chain. All right. And we're going to leave magical unchecked. Click next. And let's go to special and custom 1 and press next. And we're going to click the launch item properties so that we can mess with the statistics of this thing when it finishes creating it. So click finish. Okay, we don't need to change anything on here because we're not going to use this in any scripts or anything, so we don't need to change the tag or the name. And we made the name ourselves anyway. But if we go to properties, we're going to choose AC bonus and move it over. And I think what that does is it gives you a special armor protection or something like that. And so we're going to click identified. And what that means is some items are unidentified by the player and some are identified. And so if it's an item that has some kind of magical property or some kind of bonus property, if your character's level or intelligence or something isn't high enough, they won't recognize the special properties and they'll think, oh, this is just a regular necklace. And if that's the case, you don't get the bonuses that are applied to it. You can take it to a shop and sometimes you can pay money and they will identify it for you, and then that kind of unlocks the abilities. Or if you're a certain type of character, have a certain skill, you can identify it. Sometimes you have a scroll that you can use to identify it. But if you want the player to be able to use it no matter what, make sure you check identified. If we go to the description, we can write what it says when it's unidentified and when it's identified. And so we'll just say, this is a PHAT, fat gold chain. It probably came from Mr. T. If you guys know who Mr. T is from the A-Team, you know, and I don't know if that's past your years, but whatever. Okay, and that's about it. For appearance, you know, it's got these default appearances. I don't know which one looks like a gold chain that Mr. T would wear. Maybe this one. Okay. All right, so it shows up if you go to Paint Items, which is the sword, you go to Custom, Special, Custom one, there's the gold chain. And you could put one on the ground. It would have a little bag there, but that's what it is. Now, what we really want to do is paint a vendor merchant store, and then we're going to put this, the gold chain in there. So if you click on the gold coins here, Paint Merchants, what you end up painting is it looks like a waypoint. Sorry, I'm in Custom, go to Standard. And we're going to paint a general store. And so I paint it down. It looks like a waypoint. And the player will never see this. And it doesn't matter that this looks like a waypoint. In fact, it doesn't even matter where you put it. This store is going to be activated when we talk to Varen. So it makes sense to put it next to Varen. Otherwise, you know, you might be wondering, why is the waypoint store merchant object way over here when the Varen's here? It just keeps it easy when you're working on it. So we'll put it next to Varen, and we're going to right click and go to Properties. And the first thing we'll do is we'll change the tag to MT for merchant tag Varen. And then a couple things to look at here. Here's the pricing. The merchant will sell things at a markup, obviously. So if something costs $1, they would sell it for $1.50, and they have to make money, right? They also buy back things. So if you have extra junk you want to sell, you can sell it to a merchant, but they mark it down from the price. Okay, so if it's worth $1, they're going to pay you 35 cents for it. You can change these, but you can never set it up so that the merchant operates at a loss. In other words, you can't set it up so that you can buy some junk from the merchant and then sell it back to him for a profit, because then you could just sit there and make as much money as you wanted to all day. This guy will identify items for a price, so that'll show up on the menu options. But we're going to mark the sell markup to 1%, and then automatically that changes the buy markdown also to 1% because he won't operate at a loss. So he's going to sell things cheaply, but he'll also buy things cheaply. That'll mean we'll be able to equip ourselves from this merchant, even if we have very little money. Let's see, you can check buy stolen goods, maximum buy price, has limited gold. So you can say this guy only has 10 gold, so you can't buy everything you have if you want to sell your junk, things like that. Okay, what we need to do next is go to the inventory. And since this is a general store, we can see the things that he has for sale. Some basic armor sets, some weapons. This is a general store, so he's got a little bit of everything. And so what we're going to do is go to our custom items, go to our special custom one, and take the gold chain. We'll go to rings and amulets, and we'll drag out the gold chain. And there it is at the bottom, the gold chain. And it looks like it's going to cost us 6 gold pieces. And there we go. Okay, that's all set. So click OK. And that works. Now, and click OK again. What we need to do is find a way to trigger this. We have to trigger this through the conversation. So we're going to go to the properties for Varen. And we're going to edit his conversation. And we're going to find the spot where he asks, oh, do you want to see what I have for sale? And if you say yes, then we go down here to other actions. No, actions taken. Yeah, and we'll go to the wizard. We're going to perform an action. And the action we're going to perform is to start a merchant. And okay, we're going to go to the script tag box, and we're going to type in MT for merchant tag Varen. and then click next. And this script will be action taken Varen. Let's see, do we have other? Oh, I can't see it. This is our first action taken script for Varen, so it'll be Varen 01, and click finish. And that should take care of it. We'll save that. We'll close this. Close this. Now, since I updated this particular instance of Varen, I shouldn't have to update all my instances. If I had gone into my custom character and done it here and not changed this guy's versions, then I probably would have to update the instances. But this one should work. So let me paint a starting area here. And let's save it and test this. Okay, here's Varen. If I go over and talk to him. Okay. Yes, please. And here we go. We start the merchant. And so we've got all these armor things we can buy. And it looks like we currently have 59 gold just to start the game with, so that's nice. If I go to magic items, and I scroll down here, and there it is, the gold chain. Looks like it's 19 gold. I'm not sure why it's not 6. I must have missed something. But anyway, that's affordable for us, so we can purchase that. We can put on our fat gold chain. If we examine it, you can see this is a fat gold chain. It probably came from Mr. T. There it is. Pretty cool. Okay, that's it for this one. In the next tutorial, what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up some lighting and sound effects and just kind of change the mood in certain areas. And then after that, we'll get into a little bit heavier scripting to make sure that the script works properly and make sure the miners can be rescued. And that'll be the end of this one. And then I'll set you guys off on setting up your own small story, kind of like this one.